In previous videos, we've talked a lot about tracked vehicles that could be added to War Thunder, but only mentioned a few wheeled fighting vehicles. I realized a lot of the vehicles I wanted to talk about were armored cars, so I figured I'd make a video centered around them. I think they're an area that War Thunder hasn't explored very well, and they provide a lot of options for smaller nations. But before we get into it, I want to talk about my sponsor. I'm partnered with Apex Gaming. They make pre-built PCs. If you're looking to upgrade, you should check them out. Link is in the description and comments. You can use my username as a discount code on checkout. Now back to the video. First up, there's the MOWAG Shark with FL20 turret. Though technically a Swiss vehicle, I think it should go to France. The turret is obviously pretty unique. Much like the earlier FL15 turret used by the SK105, the FL20 turret is oscillating, even if it doesn't look very similar. It was equipped with the 105mm cannon, and also had a coax 20mm. The 105 had a fire rate of 12 RPM, or 1 round every 5 seconds. In total, the autoloader held 17 rounds, carried in 2 drums. Additional rounds could be carried in the hull. The full range of 105 ammo could be fired, including APFSDS. Stabilization was apparently optional, as were thermal imagers. The 20mm fired at 700 RPM and had 400 rounds available. Since it was supposed to be used against light vehicles, it would have fired both sabot and high explosive. As for armor, the turret protected against 14.5mm HMGs, which is pretty decent. With the turret installed, the Shark probably would have weighed around 26 metric tons. As for top speed, it was 100 km per hour. With all of the optional equipment installed, I think the FL20 Shark would be good at 9.3, placed after the SK105 in the French tree. Next isn't just one vehicle in particular, but an entire family of wheeled vehicles. Players seem to think that when it comes to Israel, they don't have a lot more that could be added to their tech tree, especially when it comes to light vehicles, but that isn't the case. The Ram series of light armored cars, built by Ramta of IAI, were configured for a wide range of missions. The earlier versions only protected against rifle caliber rounds, and had a top speed of 96 km per hour. They were also open-topped. To give Israel some mid-tier anti-air, Gaijin could add the Ram Mark I TCM. This essentially takes the turret of the M13 GMC, replaces the 50 cals with 20mm, and plops it into the back of a Ram. Each gun is fed from 60-round magazines, with a total of 360 rounds carried. I don't think the traverse system was changed at all, and obviously it has no fire control system. For a nice 6.7 tank destroyer, they could add the Ram Mark I with recoilless rifle. It's the same gun used by the Ontos and Fiat, so I imagine it would play like the latter. It didn't have a ton of ammunition, just 18 rounds, but that's enough for a few kills at least. Next, there is the Ram Mark I AT, which would function as a higher tier tank destroyer. It had a tow missile launcher installed. A total of 16 missiles were carried, which is quite a lot when you think about it. The M3 Bradley carries 14, and compared to a lot of other IFVs, it carries a lot of ammo. This version of the Ram would likely only get the basic tow missile, not ITOs or TOW2s. And finally, for top tier, there's the Ram Mark III AT. The Mark III AT is fairly new, being developed during the early 2010s. It is a pretty interesting vehicle though. It has an elevating launcher with 4 Lahat missiles, the Lahat being the gun-launched missile that was developed for the Merkava. 4 more missiles are stowed in the back of the hull. I don't know exactly how much penetration it has. Some less than satisfactory sources claim over 800mm, but it does have a tandem warhead, so it should be pretty effective. And finally, one for the US. This is the MPWS Piranha 8x8, which was offered alongside the RDF-LT light tank. The Piranha uses the same 75mm automatic cannon, and has roughly the same stats, though its gun depression is not as impressive. Compared to the HST-VL, the Piranha would have much worse armor, a larger profile, more ammo, less depression, a higher fire rate, no CITV, and probably better mobility. The fire rate was 70 RPM, and 34 ready rounds were carried, though if the Piranha didn't have to swim, more rounds could be stored in the hull. Yeah, it was still amphibious after the gun was installed. The hull is only resistant to rifle rounds, so anything with a 50 cal will shred it. While mounting the turret at the rear makes it easier to fit in planes, it's more of a detriment in War Thunder, especially in city fights. It weighed 12.5 tons combat loaded, and had a power to weight ratio of 24. As for top speed, it was 100 km per hour. I think it would make for a good event vehicle or squadron vehicle. I don't think it has much of a place in the tech tree. It would probably be placed at 10.3 or 10.7. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.